All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to unpack a timeless warning. Seriously, one of the most important guides ever given for figuring out what's real and what's not in a world just flooded with spiritual claims.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever felt that sting of being misled? You trusted someone who looked the part. They talked a great game about God, they seemed so kind, but then later, you realize something was just off, deeply wrong. Maybe their life didn't match their words at all. It's a painful feeling, and guess what? It is not new. It's an experience that's as old as faith itself.
And that's exactly why Jesus gave this incredibly specific and pretty sobering warning. It's such a powerful image, right? A wolf in sheep's clothing. And he didn't just drop that line and walk away. Nope. He gave us a way to actually see beyond the disguise.
So to really get what he meant, we have to kind of step back into his world for a minute. We need to understand the imagery he was using, because for his listeners, it was powerful stuff.
See, back then, everyone knew what a shepherd was for. They were the ultimate symbol of care, of guidance, and protection. And the sheep, well, they were the community, the followers who completely depended on that shepherd to keep them safe. It was this beautiful picture of life and security.
This chart just breaks it down perfectly. The sheep's clothing, that's the outside stuff. It looks safe, it sounds super religious, it talks all about God. But the wolf's heart, that's the hidden reality. It's a dangerous nature that's actually looking to harm the flock, not help it. Jesus was describing a spiritual counterfeit that looks almost exactly like the real thing.
So if you can't trust what it looks like on the outside, what can you trust? This is where Jesus gives us this incredibly practical, really powerful tool, a test to see what's actually underneath the costume.
And that leads us right to the heart of his teaching, the test of the fruit. This is the absolute key to discernment. So what in the world is this fruit that we're supposed to be on the lookout for?
Well, Jesus says fruit is basically the visible result of what's going on in a person's heart. It has nothing to do with their public performance or their charisma. It's all about their character. Do you see genuine love, real humility? Is their life actually marked by truthfulness, by faithfulness? It's the consistent, tangible stuff that shows what's really growing on the inside. And this slide. Oh man, this is where we so often get it wrong. Fruit is not charisma. It's not popularity. It's not about having impressive spiritual gifts, or just being super busy with church stuff, or even using all the right Christian lingo. All of that can be part of the sheep's clothing. Anyone can fake that. But you know what? Authentic fruit? That cannot be faked for long.
Jesus basically puts it like this. Do you gather grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? I mean, the point is so clear, right? What a thing produces reveals what that thing is at its core. And this is where the whole teaching takes a sharp turn from looking at others to looking right at ourselves.
And that's the question that really matters, isn't it? This isn't just about spotting fakes out there. It's about some serious self-examination. What's the visible outcome of my heart? When people are around me, what do they get? Do they get love, grace, and integrity? Or do they get pressure and pride and a whole lot of performance?
Jesus really drives this point home. He's saying that a tree's fruit isn't just about trying to behave better. It's about its fundamental nature. He's talking about identity. The source determines the fruit. You just can't get good apples from a sick tree, no matter how much you shine up the leaves. Okay, so this brings us to a pretty big problem. If our nature determines our fruit, and let's be honest, our nature is flawed, what's the solution? And that question right there leads us to the central hope of this entire message.
First off, we have to get the heart behind this warning. Jesus isn't trying to turn us into a bunch of suspicious, judgmental people. He's being a good shepherd. He's protecting his sheep. Because let's face it, harmful spirituality is a real thing. It twists the truth, and it can do a lot of damage.
And here's the deepest truth of it all. The bad fruit problem isn't just for a few false prophets. It's a universal human thing. The Bible's pretty clear that at our root, we're all disconnected from our source, from God. So without a fundamental change at the core, every single one of us is naturally going to produce the wrong kind of fruit.
So if the problem is our very nature, what hope is there? Well, the answer isn't just try harder to be good. That's like taping grocery store apples onto a thorn bush and calling it an apple tree. It's just a surface-level fix that doesn't change what's really going on inside.
The real solution is transformation. It's not about modifying your behavior, it's about getting a new heart, a new nature.
The whole message of the gospel isn't self-improvement. It's an invitation to a supernatural rebirth.
And this is the answer. Jesus shows up and says, he isn't just a great teacher. He's the source of life itself. He's the vine. We're the branches. See, good fruit isn't something we can just muscle up and produce on our own. It's what grows in us when we are connected to him. His life flows into us, and that good fruit is just the natural result.
So why is this ancient warning more urgent today than maybe ever before? Well, the stakes in our time are incredibly high.
You know, Jesus himself actually predicted that in the time leading up to his return, spiritual deception wouldn't get better, it would actually multiply. There would be more voices, more claims, more confusion. It becomes very easy to have an outward appearance of Christianity without any real inward connection to Christ.
And that makes this fruit test an absolutely essential survival skill for our faith. It's not about pointing fingers, but it's about staying anchored to what is true and what actually brings life. It helps us cut through all the noise and hang on to what's real.
But you know, this whole warning doesn't actually end in fear or suspicion. It ends with a really hopeful invitation. It comes down to a personal choice.
The invitation isn't work harder to produce fruit. No, it's a simple relational journey. First, come to the true source, Jesus. Second, stay connected to him. The word is abide. And third, just watch. Watch as his life in you starts to produce real, authentic, lasting fruit. It's all about surrender, not striving. And so we end up right back where we started, with this unforgettable line. This is the test. It works for the voices we listen to, the leaders we follow, and yeah, most importantly, for the state of our own hearts. So the final question is for you. What does the fruit of your life reveal about your source?